Has Wall Street fallen out of love with Apple? The one-time market darling's share price fell 6% Wednesday, briefly dropping below the $400 per share mark, the first time since late 2011.
Share price actually down by over 40% from last September. What does this all mean? Well, it means that Apple is no longer the world's most valuable company.
Wednesday's fall means ExxonMobil has regained that crown. The BBC reports the tumble was apparently triggered by fears that demand for iPhones and iPads is weakening.
A disappointing forecast from Cirrus Logic, which makes chips for Apple mobile devices, fanned concerns that competition from Samsung and other rivals is taking its toll.
Cirrus Logic relies on Apple for most of its sales, so when the company shared a weak outlook, many took it as a sign it was expecting fewer orders from Apple. An analyst on Bloomberg says this is just adding to the already negative sentiment surrounding Apple.
It's been a series of things. If you go back to the fall, you go back to October, I think initially it was Samsung's momentum, then it was kind of gross margins. It's something that's just snowballed and gotten worse and worse, I think.
That concern is spreading to Asia. The Wall Street Journal reports investors there are dumping iPhone and iPad component makers. The question many investors would love to know the answer to: will Apple shares keep falling, or is this a time to swoop in before the stock rebounds? Time reports Apple is extremely cheap relative to the broader market. Even so, many analysts are cautioning that the stock could fall further still, with some pulling out the classic warning that investors shouldn't attempt to catch a falling knife. An analyst on CNBC says Wall Street overestimated Apple's sales and revenue, and investors should wait for those expectations to fall before they invest.
Once estimates come down, the buy side should be more positive just because the numbers have come down. And separately, the product release schedule, that's the critical part, I think, is the catalyst for getting investors back in the stock.
Apple will report fourth quarter earnings Tuesday. The company's steep decline over the past 6 months since its peak at $700 a share in September amounts to a loss of more than $280 billion in shareholder value. For Newsy, I'm Katie Brennan.